What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the PWZ podcast. I've got a guest here today I've not had on in just over a year. Been looking forward to having him back on today. It's Ryan Fraust. How's it going, sir?
As well as it can, man. Thank you. How is everything with you?
It's awesome, just busy as hell, working like crazy. Apparently you are as well.
I'm right here in Chow Restaurant in Thomaston, Connecticut. This is where I pay my bills, pal. And this is where I'm sitting right now for this interview.
Well, let's do it again. Cheers.
Hey, cheers.
What do you got on? What are you drinking there?
Well, this here is water because that's very important for any athlete or regular person.
Yep.
This is just a little tequila. That's
there you go. Nothing wrong with that. I am drinking. If I remember correctly from our last episode that we did together, you don't drink beer, correct? Or not as much?
I used to, man, and I do love some of it. I will never not love Yingling. I think
okay.
Great beer. Here we sell Two Roads Toucan. It's a regular ale, not an IPA. It's delicious.
Yeah.
All the IPAs, all the skunkiness, like, no offense to anybody, it's just not my.
I actually hated IPAs up until about a year ago. I tried one. Then that's got me hooked on just trying different IPAs. Right now, one of my favorites, right out of Connecticut. You can see this in the camera. Seafoam from Thimble Island. I don't know if I'm sure you're familiar with them, correct? No? Thimble Island? You're good.
Thimble Island I have heard of. I know that's like a reputable, the brewery and everything.
Yeah, it's delicious. I was an ale guy for about the first 20 or so years that maybe closer to 30 years that I was drinking. So was able to drink legally, I should say. So I always like my English ales, Newcastle and such. So I started experimenting in the last couple of years.
Well, the first beer I drank on draft was a Killian's Irish Red.
I remember that.
I loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We used to buy that because it was relatively cheap for a while. We used to buy that and buy it for parties, back in the day. So
a little flavor instead of a Coors Light, right?
Yeah, right. Coors Light goes down really good on like a nice hot summer day where it's like 200 degrees out. So that's about the only time I'll drink that. But yeah, look at this. We're talking about beer here on the show. We should make it a beer show instead of a wrestling show.
Well, whoa. Because then you won't have me on because I don't have shit to talk about.
So let me ask you, what has been going on in your wrestling world in the last year? I know I've got some notes here. I'm going to ask you about some specifics, but it's been quite some time since you've been on. Obviously, if you don't mind me bringing this subject up now, last time I was talking to you guys, you were tag teaming with Big Jim Anderson. Sadly, we lost him just probably a few short weeks after that. And I remember seeing him shortly after I had you on. He was throwing the idea about me having both you on as a tag team, and I was looking forward to that. And then you formed a tag team with him and you were going all over the East Coast with him, right? If I remember correctly.
We were out as far as Indiana and Ohio before, he did unfortunately leave us, which, I want to make abundantly clear, like we can talk about anything, like I'm good, but, yeah, it was pretty rough. Like there were some opportunities coming to us that I had inkling of that I'm disappointed didn't happen. At the time of his passing, he was my best friend in the world. We were at the gym 3-4 times a week. We were at all these events together. If he was working, I was going with him. I went out to Pennsylvania with him. They were like, "Oh, you guys tag?" And it's like, "Yeah." And then they're like, "Both of you, the big guys?" It's like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, we're bringing you back." Like everywhere we went, when they found out that we were a team, they were like, "Holy shit, we got to get you both on right now." So it was really cool. It was easily the coolest stretch of my wrestling career that I was, working closely with him. It's just tough, people. Unfortunately, he's not even the first friend I've had who passed way prematurely. And it's just like miserable for the family, for the friends, for anybody. And in this instance, we're talking about fans. We're talking about the fans of his music who now no longer get to go see Two-Fisted Law play. You know, talking about the fans of his wrestling who, in whatever different place, can't go see him wrestle. It's ruinous to a fan base. It's like painful.
Yeah. He is surely missed. I mean, I know he was just a great guy. Every time he walked through the door, he had a big smile on his face. He had a great big handshake or hug for you. And it's very sad that that had happened to him.
Yeah, you'll hear people say that like I'm easy to get along with and shit, but like at the end of the day, I don't like a lot of people.
Yeah.
And he like stepped into my life and became one of the only people that I truly confided. He was like one of my best friends. I you know, really lost somebody there, but so many other people that I'm not trying to diminish anyone's on it. Like we all looked up to this guy. He was a great human being, and at the end of the day, he went from like everyone trying to bury him and trying to get rid of him to everyone talking about how great he was in like 6 months.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And he deserved every chance he got and every opportunity he got and every spotlight he stood in. And yeah, it's truly criminal that we don't have this individual in our lives anymore. But
it is very sad. You guys had captured, if I remember correctly, you guys had captured the New World Extreme. Now, I might get this name wrong. Tag team titles right before he passed? Probably within a couple days, right? I believe.
No,
or maybe
we had captured them, and then we had one opportunity to defend the belts at UFO in Malden, Massachusetts, at one of my favorite buildings to wrestle in, against the House of Pain, who trained with Jim at PAPW. They were friends with him. I'm friendly with them. You know, I don't.
They're great guys.
Drives with them, but like I'm friendly with them. It was a really cool experience. And without Jim, that show never would have happened, because it was Bosch and Jim putting that ring together until minutes before doors opened. And they got it done, and we had an event, and we had the opportunity to defend against those guys. It was all fantastic. And then the weekend that he passed, you know, we performed on Friday, and then CM Punk came back to wrestling in Chicago that day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I believe that Sunday he challenged for the Blood, Sweat, and Tears Championship against Flash. And then that Monday night he went to training. And that Monday night he and I were texting, and he said, "I'll see you at the gym at 8." And I was like, it might be more like 8:15, but I'll see you. And then, you know, yeah. Yeah.
It was very sad. I remember when I found out, I know I've told the story a million times on here, is that I was doing a podcast. We were previewing a PAPW show, and Big Daddy was here, and he just his phone was blowing up. It was Mario trying to get to him to tell him the information. So, yeah, that was very sad. Very, very sad day. And then when Big Daddy returned a few minutes later, he broke the news to us. And yeah, things weren't the same for the rest of for a few weeks. You know what I mean? It was just very heart-wrenching for the New England scene, because a lot of people love that guy.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, I had gotten close with certain people that he was close with in that time, and it's just it was so much more painful than losing like a performer. You know what I mean? It was literally like this guy would do anything for anyone that he cared about. I don't even, like, part of me wants to like completely divulge, and like part of me wants to just like kind of hold some stuff close, but you know, I was really close with him for about a year before he passed, and I don't think I've known or even met a better person. Like he was a complete gem of humanity.
Yeah. And you guys were just starting out as a team, so things could have just gotten so much bigger.
Well, so
think about
we knew that we were going to be teaming.
Yeah.
And we teamed once before at Test of Strength at Fight for Your Dreams 2. And now in September, we're about to do Fight for Your Dreams 5. So it was that long ago.
Wow.
And that's where we like really like we had known of each other and we had been friendly acquaintances, but that's where we like became friends and started like working together a little bit. And you know, we had only been a team who had won a championship and defended it so many times and stuff. But like we had been working together. We had been at the gym. Like he brought me to Universal Fitness in Watertown, Connecticut, that I would suggest to anybody who wants to get gains. We had been training together, like weightlifting and stuff, for like at least a year.
Oh, wow.
Before we won those titles.
Okay.
And every day it was like, yo, I believe in you, brother. I want you to be better, brother. I want to make. He had to talk me into getting good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I wrestled amateur wrestling, and I wouldn't go to the gym because I was like, nah, man, I don't have to. I'm already fit. Fuck it. Can I swear? Am I allowed to swear?
You're definitely allowed to swear. Yes. Okay.
So I won't abuse that, but I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm already strong. Jim used to talk about my tiny baby shoulders. And I used to think like my upper like chest, arms, body was like my strength. And he was like, well, you know, we got to work on those tiny baby shoulders. And I'm like, what? So he was looking for a car because he was back in Waterbury, Connecticut. And that's where the Brass City Devils comes from, because Brass City is Waterbury and we were a team. And that was his name, and I didn't like it, and we went with it, and now I'll never not like it. But he was looking for a car, and I introduced him to this dealership, and he got a car. Like they worked with him, they made it happen. It was West Side Automotive on Chase Parkway in Waterbury, Connecticut.
I know that area. My son plays basketball over there, so
yeah.
Yep.
So this guy got him the car he needed, and he picked up his car and left a note on the windshield of my car that said, "You have tiny baby shoulders." When he went and picked up his car, because it was across the street from the place I was working, he used,
yeah.
And and if I'm in good shape now, it's because of him. So
nice. That's a really great story there. Let's move along a little bit. As much as we can probably sit here and do a whole entire episode talking about Jim and us remembering him. Yeah. So, what else have you been up to this year outside of, everything else, wrestling and stuff? What's that?
You were there on July.
I got that in my notes, but there's a whole bunch of stuff before that I want to talk about. So,
if anybody ever wants to ask me a genuine question about the Test of Strength Championship, I am telling you that's the most important championship in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Test of Strength. It's my screensaver on my phone, like my lock screen, is Test of Strength. Like the fact that I ended up there. So I was at PWA with Joseph Von Schmidt and Moonshine McCready and Dickie Moon and Bull Dredd. And I really enjoyed my time there, and I really did learn a lot, and I really did have an opportunity to get introduced to the wrestling business. And when the school closed, I ended up at Wagner's at Test of Strength. And,
before you went to Slick Wagner Brown and Test of Strength, how many matches had you had under your belt outside of PWA?
Outside of PWA?
Well, coming from PWA, outside of TOS, like before going to TOS, how many matches have you had?
Before.
Oh, okay. No matches. Okay.
That's why I rely so heavily on TOS and give them the credit for a lot of what I've accomplished, because I got my start at PWA, and I never would have done anything without them. So I give them all the credit in the world for that. But when I started at Test of Strength, and this is not PWA's fault. When I started at Test of Strength, I was ready to start training in earnest and like really like start to make a name for myself and earn it. Right? Oh, am I frozen?
Nope, I could still hear you. Yep.
So this has nothing to do with PWA, and I'm not casting any shade. Like, I had a great time with them. But when I started at Test of Strength, it was about 6 months before I started having matches, you know, and I debuted in May of, I don't know, 4 years ago, 2018.
Yes, roughly.
And it's been great. It's been outstanding. It's the most vilifying and not vilifying, validating and rewarding experience of my life has been being part of Test of Strength.
So I know you got a match this coming Saturday. We're gonna get to that, but you have won the Tough and Talented United States Heavyweight Championship. Tell me about the. I could not find that information on how you won that title. But was it in a battle royal or was it a tournament?
It was against Hippie Dickie Moon, who was one of my trainers at PWA. Actually.
Okay.
And Zachariah Gibbs, who trained with Jim at PAPW.
Yep.
And Richie Rich, who was in WWE, and he was the kind of guy. He was an enhancement talent, but he's a good hand. He's a good wrestler.
Okay.
And he probably entering that match would have been the favorite choice. And I have it on all accounts that no decision was made based on anything else that had happened outside of wrestling. But, you know, I got in there and I fought hard and I pinned Richie Rich and I got that championship belt, and he can come back and challenge for it whenever he wants. I'll fight Richie anywhere, anytime, and it'll be a friendly contest between two badass fighters. But that day I came out on top, and it's been over a year.
Okay. All right. So I have, I think it looks like I've only got some information. I know that Tough and Talented is celebrating their 1 year anniversary show this Saturday, in which you are the United States champion. And I believe you're going to be defending it this weekend, correct?
Definitely.
So I saw that you had defended it against Battle Academy's Lorenzo Vendetta earlier in the year. Tell me about that match and tell me what it was like working with Lorenzo Vendetta. I think the guys in Battle Academy, they all got a lot of promise. A lot of these guys are very good. I think Lorenzo has that look of a star, if you will. I think that he's got a lot of potential. I think he's very good.
I actually would love to discuss this, and I'm glad you brought it up.
All right.
I like Lorenzo as an opponent, and I like him as a competitor. I think he's outstanding.
Yeah.
I don't think he could look any better. He's his physique. He's nuts.
Yeah.
It's tough for him. Like in wrestling, there's weight class,
and
I am a lot bigger than that kid. And I have a little more experience in pro wrestling. I don't know about amateur wrestling. I didn't get his background, but in professional wrestling, I had more experience. And he came at me with 3 dudes. And you weren't there for that one. Right?
That one, no. I have not been to one of the Tough and Talented shows yet. I have viewed them on Don Kincaid's page, the Kincaid Files, everything there. So
I issued an open challenge. And the entire Battle Academy comes out. And I'm like, well, who's answering the challenge? They didn't even tell me. So I tossed somebody the mic, fucking started hitting them all, and then he was the one who answered. I don't even think that was the wrong choice. He might have been the best choice to win it that night. But, you know, he's outstanding.
Yeah.
Hunter's good. Jake Lynn is good. Skylar's good. They're all good.
Yeah.
The problem to me about the Battle Academy is that they're all good, but are they all like really ready? Like, are they all like obsessed with the opportunity to go out there and just win everything they can win and just get everything they can get? They think they are. But when they really are, they're not going to rely on each other, and they're not going to rely on the battle of numbers. You know what I mean?
Right. Correct. Yep.
I'm not saying they're not ready. and I did this, and it looks like this. I'm not saying they're not ready. I'm saying they need to grow even stronger individually, each of them, to be a better unit.
I think that, Lorenzo, as we just said, you spoke of him. I think that he's got a lot of potential. I think he's very good.
Awesome.
Hunter, I think, also is very, very, very good competitor. Don't see him in a lot of singles matches. He was usually teaming with Lorenzo. Let's see. Skylar, I think, has so much potential. She's been getting out there and being, able to wrestle a little bit more outside of, say, PAPW or Tough and Talented and such. And then that was the other guy. Jake Lynn has massive amounts of charisma. That guy could talk. He's like so good on the mic. He is just insanely funny. So he's just very good.
They're all good.
Yeah.
They're all really good. They're all very good. I just think that they should, even though they're in this group, they should focus on their individual strengths. I think Skylar's been doing the best job of that. But I think that's also because there's so many opportunities for female wrestlers or wrestlers who identify as female. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just saying,
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. She's been taking the opportunities she can get. She's challenged for the NWWE title now.
Okay.
Anywhere I go, I have an even chance of seeing Skylar, She
had a really good match at the Cadillac Ranch with Big Juicy I think you were there. Yeah, you were there. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Yeah.
Yeah. I see these guys still trying to live off that name. I got to go beat them up. But yes, I was.
Tell me about working with the Mighty Bosch and Dirtbag Dan in Tough and Talented.
Yeah. Again, second time I had the open challenge. I had worked with both of those individuals in the past separately. It was a unique challenge to fight them at the same time. Dirtbag is a very different competitor than the Mighty Bosch is. Bosch is, by the rules, straight on, I'm coming at you, and
he's a superhero. Yeah.
Well, he is a superhero, but he also has that advantage that you it's almost unfair sometimes to other people because he's so much bigger than they are and so much stronger than they are. And he is at least as big as me, and he is at least as strong as me. So when he comes in there and tries to muscle me around, it goes back and forth.
Yeah.
But Dirtbag Dan, who's a wild card at his most subtle moments, let alone when he's in there and he knows he has to go fucking nuts against two guys who are way bigger than him.
Yeah.
Right. That was a fun match. That was a really fun match. And a lot of cool things happened. And I did somehow come out with the US title. And that's why I'm defending it against Clipper Jones on Saturday.
Okay. I'm not too familiar with Clipper Jones outside of an interview I've seen. They compete for Shut Up and Wrestle mainly. Am I correct?
Well, no, he's done Shut Up and Wrestle, but he trained with the 3D Academy out in Danbury. Okay.
All right.
Buster is one of his trainers, and his primary trainer is Randy Shawn, Jay Busta.
Yep.
So not only is he learning how to wrestle the right way, he's also learning how to do underhanded tactics, and I have to find myself against that shit. You know what I mean?
I didn't know that Randy Shawn was still involved in wrestling. I have not seen Jay Busta in so many years. I didn't know that. And then all of a sudden I started seeing him pop up. Repeat that, please.
I'm sorry. Yeah. He's the primary trainer at Bubba's school.
The
Academy.
Yeah, I just found that out. I was watching the interview with a guy from out of there called Ken Powers. So I mentioned, yeah. But
Randy's still definitely involved. I know he does most NWWE events.
Okay. I remember when he was with the
and because he's been to Japan. He's done WWE spots. He's done everything.
Yeah.
It's really cool to be friendly with him and learn and talk to him.
I used to see him back in the day in little rooms or Masonic temples with maybe 20 people, if not less, in West Haven, Connecticut. So that's when,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when Connecticut wasn't so hot. We're going to talk about the Connecticut, as a whole in just a few minutes. But all right, so this is we're going to talk about this one you just mentioned, just incredible ECW legend. June 29th, you made your, if I'm correct, you made your pay-per-view debut on Fight TV. Is this your? Would you consider this your
W event?
Yeah, the PAPW event, taking on Bull Dredd.
Yeah.
You guys have a huge history against each other. You guys wrestled each other throughout, if I remember, during his, what was that, the Sexy Beast period of his career? No?
He did the Sexy Beast, right? And then when I was talking junk about hardcore wrestling, he wanted to fight me.
Okay, that's right. I think we talked about this the last time you were on. Yeah.
You want to fight? I mean, we could fight. And he came back with his Connecticut Beast instead of the Sexy Beast persona. And I was already busy making fun of his Sexy Beast persona. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he got the better of me at the tables match where I tagged with Jim Anderson, which again, we came back full circle to my first time tagging with Jim at Fight 2. Bull Dredd was there for that.
What was it like working for a PAPW show? I believe, was that your debut for PAPW? Because I've been going to their shows for almost 4 years, and I don't ever recall you ever being there before.
If I were to be completely honest, and I would never lie to the camera, I had one match at a PAPW Friday Night Alley Fights that was just like not good. And I'm not going to name anyone who was in the match, and I'm not going to say a date because I don't know the date, but it was like really not good.
So this must have been before I started coming around, maybe.
But it was bad. It was bad enough that I actually just recently learned that that's the reason why they don't call me or nothing. And that's fine. Hey, it's cool. I've had some bad matches. Everyone out there in the land, I've had some bad matches. But it was rough, and I don't know that it was entirely my fault. And then I got blamed for some other shit that happened on the event. So, like, I get it.
Yeah.
But Mario has given me the opportunity to perform at these Cadillac Ranch events, which I love because I can get friends and family to Cadillac Ranch.
Yep.
Even if they don't like wrestling, they're like, "Oh yeah, cool. I'll go have a drink or something."
But before we move on, like, you are returning to PAPW for the next Wild Wild Wrestling. It's a Sunday, the 24th, I believe. And has your opponent been named yet?
Because the 24th, I'm defending the tag titles at in Woonsocket for NWWE. So the 25th
is the 25th. Okay.
Yeah, the 25th, I'm coming back to PAPW. I don't know who my opponent is yet, but I got to tell you, I've had 2 poor showings at PAPW. Like, when I fought Bull Dredd, it was fun. It wasn't a poor.
I thought it was fun. I enjoyed that match, and I was happy to see you there. I was happy to see Alex Rojas there. I was, we're buddies.
Justin.
It was just, and Justin and HC Loke, and it was a fun night.
But I got to win. So whoever comes out on Sunday, September 25th, I'm sorry. Like, it's going to be the end. Like, I got to win a match for this company or like, what am I doing showing up?
Yeah. Shortly after July 7th, Test of Strength, you took on the champion, Magnificent Marcos. And let's see. It seems that you, at one point during the match, had won the title. Let me just, and then, of course, Honest Abe and Marcos, there was some shenanigans there performing throughout the match. And then they got what they had coming to them. Q showed up and he had video footage on his phone. Showed it to Ref Gina, and then they restarted the match. Let's talk about this because this is you pinned Marcos. The entire place went absolutely fucking crazy. This has been built up for a very long time. You winning the TOS title had been built up. The fans were entirely behind you. I can't tell you how pissed off they were when Q comes out with the phone, shows a video to Ref Gina, and they have to restart that match, and then they end up walking away with that title.
So, the funny thing is, with wrestling, it's like everyone thinks they know what's going to happen. It's like, no, you don't ever know what's actually going to happen. So he came at me with the walking cane from Abe that was just chilling there. Came at me like he's come at 100 other people. He's hit me with it. He's beaten me with this exact same ploy. But I knew it. I saw it coming. I ducked the cane swing, grabbed the cane, hit the white Russian leg sweep, just like the Sandman, right? Now, is me grabbing that cane after he already swung it at me, does that make me the cheater? Because he already tried to hit me with it.
There was a lot of shenanigans going on throughout the entire match on those two.
I don't even need the answer to that question. Maybe it does make me the cheater because he didn't hit me with it. But I grabbed it after he swung it at me, and I hit a move. I didn't even hit him with the weapon. I just hit a move. And then Ref Q, who arguably, but like clearly, has been in the pocket of Marcos and Abe the entire time, comes out and says, hang on, Frosty used a weapon. And then Gina, Blue Shoes, bro, she's one of the best officials in all of independent professional wrestling. It's only a matter of time before she gets signed. She is a gem in officiating wrestling, and I helped train her to, say. She came out of TOS. All of this I'm going to do everything I can to earn the shot that I should have at the Test of Strength Championship and remedy this entire situation. But as it stands, with Fight for Your Dreams, Frost for Your Dreams, coming up, because I was at the center of that controversy, Test of Strength has put me further into the center of the controversy, and now I'm the special guest referee for the TOS title match, where Marcos defends in a four-way against Sammy Diaz, returning from injury. Moonlight Sun Mike Skyros, the heir apparent, the guy who everyone thinks is going right after the title, and Slick Wagner Brown, the underground king, the head honcho. It's nuts. Where are you going?
I'm right here.
Okay. You're going somewhere.
I got my fridge behind my computer.
Oh, okay.
There you go. My new office has a we just moved into a new home, so I got this office and it's got a beer fridge. So,
good for you, bro.
Yeah. So that was the most important part, was the fridge for beer in the office. So, yeah.
But so, now I'm the special guest referee, Jimmy Mees, best enforcer outside the ring, making sure nobody does too much shenanigans.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to try to be in attendance for that. They got a lot of, stuff coming up, so I'm hoping that I can get to that. It's a little bit of a drive, but not too bad, I guess. If not, I'm hoping. Is that going to be streaming? I know Test of Strength is doing more streaming with their stuff lately.
We're all telling Wagner, like, Northampton's cool, but we have people in Connecticut who want to see us perform in Connecticut.
Well, you have an incredible fan base. Ryan Frost has an incredible fan base in Connecticut that after that last match, Northampton is cool as hell. Trust me, I've gone to a lot of concerts there and some wrestling there, but over the years. But after that match, I think a lot of the local area wants to see what's going to happen in that match.
Well, here's one deal. East Hampton, Matt. We had
East Hamptons. Yeah.
We had and we did Fight for Your Dreams 1. We did the first Lone Survivor. We did a bunch of events in this venue that was just incredible. And they hated me then because I was not necessarily pandering to the fans at that point. I was kind of like doing my own thing and kind of bending the rules, or maybe breaking them. But the Deuce was magic, and we don't have that anymore, and that's unfortunate. Yeah. The venue closed because of COVID. So now we're looking for something in that area that's gonna really lock. And the Northampton venue is a fantastic venue. We just need to make sure the people come. We only have 2 front row seats left. I think it's going to be good.
Okay. What is the date? Let's before we get out of this subject, what's the date of that?
That's September 17th. You have Low Key. You have the most influential professional wrestler of the last decade fighting for the K1 against Ichiban.
I remember seeing Low Key through the years in the independents, working the Northeast shows for years and years and years before he even went to WWE, Ring of Honor, TNA, any of that stuff. He would work all these shows and little rooms and stuff like that. So it would be really cool to come to that show and see him work this show. It really would, because back in the day, I was a huge fan of his, and I thought he was an incredible performer. I don't think he ever really got his just due as far as superstar status. You catch me?
It's tough. It's tough when you're that legit a badass. Everyone kind of hates you for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the other truth. I don't mind the fact that I'm not wrestling on this card, because Low Key and Ichiban is going to be the most intense wrestling match that the Northeast has seen in like at least 5-10 years. This shit's going to be fucking nuts, bro.
Ichiban, of course, an incredible performer. This guy is just, I had a chance to go to the Beyond show. What was that? American Rana, and I went to the Wrestling Open show beforehand. And who did he wrestle that night? Shit, I don't remember. But I just remember it being good, because I look forward to seeing it. What's that?
I said you probably don't remember who he fought, but you remember seeing Ichiban.
Yeah, I remember the night before was the Blood, Sweat, and Tears show, and I think that he took the what's that new title they added? The territory title, correct? I'm sorry. One more time.
I'm sorry. 6-way title or something.
Yeah, it was the and that was a great match as well. Yeah. So let's go. Was it just about August 7th? Excuse me. Mike Skyros teamed up to take on Jordan Rowe and Magnificent Marcos. This was a great match. This was my first time inside the Test of Strength dojo, believe it or not. Never, I decided after that show in Waterbury where you fought Marcos that I'm going to try going to more Test of Strength shows, because I had an absolute blast at that show. I took my young son, 7 years old, who Ichiban is one of his top guys. It's Ichiban and Colt Cabana are his favorite wrestlers. so he wanted to go.
To have fun.
We had so much fun going to the dojo. Mind you, it was hot as fuck in there, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So tell me about this match here. You teaming with Skyros, another guy who I think is off the charts great.
So the only other time I had been in a ring with Skyros was for Survival Championship Wrestling, which is on a little bit of a hiatus, but there's a battle royal. The last 2 people fight for the collar and elbow championship. And it was me and like, I'm a good guy. He's a good guy. We're trying to like just compete. And it was tough, because when you're competing with somebody like Mike Skyros, you gotta pull out all the stops. You gotta do everything you can to win, because he's not the biggest guy, but he has the biggest fight. Like, he's in great shape. He's in phenomenal shape, both like strength wise and also conditioning wise. And his finishing move, the Skyfall DDT, it's a little complicated to set up, but like if he hits it, you're done. Period.
Yeah.
Period. Like nobody can get up from that. He's an outstanding athlete, and he is the odds-on favorite to win the Test of Strength Championship at Fight for Your Dreams 5. It was an honor to share the ring with him, and it always will be every time I get the chance to. So then we do this tag match at Training Day, and it almost seems like like a gimme. I'm like, I got this guy. There's no way I'm losing this match. Like, we're going in there against Marcos, who I'm already pissed at, you know, and Jordan Rowe, who the grapple god Jordan Rowe is a unique talent as well. He wrestled in college. He's virtually impossible to beat because he doesn't quit, and he's in such good shape himself. I did hear that me and him doing a little mat wrestling was kind of a favorable moment, and that made me happy because I did wrestle in high school. Like, amateur wrestling is a passion of mine. I coached varsity wrestling actually for a couple of years after I graduated from high school, and that just means I know how good Jordan Rowe is. Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to be in the ring with him. It's never fun to be in the ring with Marcos. Like, I hate his guts. He's a jerk, and I just want to punch him in the face every time I see him at this point. So I got to punch Marcos in the face, and I got to wrestle with J-Ro. So the match you're talking about was a great moment for me. I loved it.
I'm glad you mentioned, I forgot, I think we discussed this last time, that you wrestled amateur in high school, correct? You just said?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was all state.
Yeah. Well, I was not that good. I wrestled in high school as well. It was definitely a passion of mine. It still is. I do watch amateur wrestling, you know. I was not nearly that as good as anybody, but I enjoyed it tremendously. I wish I had worked harder.
That age, that's what matters, right? In high school?
Yeah.
Wrestling college, I wasn't competitive like that, you know, but wrestling in high school is, I mean, that's, if you're having fun, like, that's what it's for.
Yeah. I watch it every year when the collegiate is on and the States and stuff like that. It's just an amazing sport. It really is. I wish I could get back into the workout regimens that I had back then, because I'd probably, if I tried that now at almost 50, I'd probably die. So,
well, you introduce it gradually. Like, first start with tying your shoes, because
I wear slip-ons at this age. Come on now, let's be serious. So, August 20th, you took on Mad Awesome for Blood, Sweat, and Tears for the very first time. I'm a huge fan of Mad Awesome. I think he's very, very good, and I've had a chance to see him at Coliseum Pro and Paradise Alley. What was it like working with him?
So it's probably a fault of my own. I walked into that thinking I was just gonna terrorize this individual and take away the win. You know what I mean? And that's definitely, when you're an athlete, you don't want to think that way. You want to, like, prepare for your opponent, and you want to make sure that you have contingency plans for when things don't go the way you want them to, right?
Right.
And I did not do those things, and sometimes you get caught not doing those things, and sometimes it costs you an L, and that may have been what happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I've got some great pictures of that.
If I feel any better, I've been beating myself up about that for years, but I'm going to continue to do better.
That's pretty much it. You're going to be the special guest referee, and then let's talk about the NWWE Tag Team Championships with the High Voltage Omar representing the Humidor against Bosch and TKO.
Yeah. Saturday the 24th.
Yep.
We fought them a couple weeks ago at Charlie Bravo's in Putnam, Connecticut. I'll be honest, we tried to kind of cut corners and take the easy way out and cheat a little bit, and it didn't work out in our favor, and that's why we devolved into a fucking brawl and fought to the back. And really what we have to do is focus on these guys and know how we want to beat them and execute a plan. you know, and in Woonsocket, the humidor rules. Like the humidor is the boss in Woonsocket. So just like it was with me and Jim when we won the tag titles over a year ago, we have to beat the tar out of these individuals. Just beat them until they can't even fight anymore, and then just take that win.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. You got some great stuff coming up. We've talked through most of it. We talked through everything that I had notes for. So I'm happy to hear that. Why don't you tell everybody where you can be found on the social media?
Social media is easy. Ryan F. Wrestles. And the F, since I'm allowed to swear, doesn't stand for Frost. It stands for fucking. Ryan fucking Wrestles.
There you go.
Twitter, which I don't use very much at all. Instagram, which is purely gimmick. And then on Facebook, where I've got the page that's like an athlete. And that's the best place to see where I'm going to wrestle and stuff, because I post all the events and everything.
All right, so I thanked you. I did the promos. I did social media. Ryan Frost, I want to thank you so much for joining me a second time. We definitely have to do this again. You're one of the best people I've had on here in this time. I always enjoy seeing you and chatting with you.
Bro, I wish I saw you more, and I know that that's not always possible, but I hope I will continue to see you more.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be around a little bit more, depending on my work schedule, my son's sports schedule. Now he's in football and basketball both at the same time. I feel like I'm going to die, dude. Like, seriously, I'm so tired of driving back and forth and then working 2 jobs and trying to maintain this podcast. So, but I want to thank you.
You're doing well maintaining the podcast, and we all appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll definitely see you very soon. And don't forget, people that are listening, Tough and Talented this Saturday, Torrington, Connecticut. There will be a link inside the description of this episode. Click that link for the information to get there. And there's going to be a lot of great professional wrestling in the state of Connecticut. There always is. Connecticut is very hot right now. There's 5-6 different promotions that are promoting right now. It's killing it. We're doing such a great job.
Probably more like 10, 12, because it's
really
like much shit. Like, there's people are doing everything all the time.
Yeah. I've heard a rumor about another one returning to Connecticut as well. So
that are really good, and then there's like 4 to 10 that are like okay, and then there's stuff that like nobody should ever have to see. Oh.
There's that too. Yeah.
We're doing.
Yeah. Connecticut's hot. So you can always check my page out. I film a lot of it. I was sitting from the crowd. Go and check out Fogman. Go check out Don Kincaid's page. All those guys film tons of wrestling from around the Northeast, especially specifically Connecticut as well. So enjoy, everybody. I want to thank everybody for tuning in here today. Enjoy.
Appreciate you, Rick.